Hey guys, welcome back to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. I am your host, David Dodge, and today I have a special guest, Rod Khleif, and Rod is with Lifetime Cashflow. And I met Rod actually a couple months ago at a mastermind down in Tampa, Florida, and I'm sitting at the table with Rod, and I was just blown away at some of the stuff that Rod was doing and has done in his life when it comes to multifamily property investing. He told me some stories while we were there when I got a chance to meet him and network with him. And just an amazing human, awesome investor, and somebody that I thought could really, really provide a ton of value to the audience. Rod, thanks for coming on the show today. How are you, man?
I'm awesome, man. It's a beautiful day in paradise. Glad to be alive. And it was Key West, I think, Will, wasn't it?
It was Key West. That's right.
Yes, sir. Yeah. We had a lot of fun. That was an awesome event. And what was cool about that event is, we're both thought leaders that help other people grow. And it was really, the event was all about student success, which is the only reason I agreed to go and keynote, because I have so little time anymore. But thanks for having me on, brother. Let's have some fun.
Rod, I'm super happy you're here. I'm grateful for your time today. I know you're a busy guy, man. So thank you so much for coming on the show. So when we had met, man, you were telling me, some of the stuff that you had done and that you were in the multifamily space. So for anybody that's listening and watching that, doesn't know who Rod is, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got started and how long you've been in the game.
Sure. Yeah. So, let me go back a ways, because it'll kind of tie into what I want to talk about. So, I immigrated this country when I was 6 years old with my brother Albert, my mother's Vansha. I was born in the Netherlands, Holland, wooden shoes, windmills, and we immigrated, and we ended up in Denver, Colorado, and we grew up struggling. So my mom, just to tell you, it wasn't like horrific or anything, but I didn't wear new clothes till junior high school until I lied about my age, and all my clothes were from the Goodwill of the Salvation Army. We ate expired food. I lied about my age when I was 14 to get a job at Burger King because I was tall, and and I was able to work there and buy my own clothes. But, we ate expired food. We drank with our cereal in the morning. It was powdered milk instead of regular milk. And, and I'm sure you've got listeners that may have it harder than we did then, or have had it harder in the past, but I knew I wanted more. And luckily my mom was a bit of an entrepreneur, and she had an incredible work ethic. So she babysat kids so we'd have enough money to eat. And with her babysitting money, she bought the house across the street from us when I was about 14 for $30,000. When I was 17, she told me she made $20,000 in her sleep. And I'm like, what? Screw real estate. Screw college. I'm getting into real estate, Mom. I'm not going to college. So I actually never ended up going to college. But so I got into real estate. I actually got my real estate broker's license right when I turned 18. Back then you could become a broker, not just an agent, you could become a broker through education. Now they got smart and you need some experience as well. But I was a broker right when I turned 18. And, my first year in real estate, I made about $8,000, maybe $10,000. My second year, 10 to 12 grand. Again, we're talking 42 years ago. So okay. Give me a little poetic license here. But my third year, I made over $100,000. And so what happened between year 2 and year 3 that caused me to 10x my income? Well, what happened was I met a guy that taught me about the importance of mindset and psychology. I actually dated his daughter, and how really 80 to 90% of your success in anything is just that, your mindset and your psychology. Only 10 to 20% is the mechanical information.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. It's the truth though. It's not the real estate. It's not the business development. It's not entrepreneurship. It's mindset that's going to get you over the finish line, or to get you started even. That's even more important. But so anyway, fast forward to today. I've owned a couple thousand houses that I've rented long-term. I've owned thousands of apartment units. In 2006, my net worth went up $17 million while I slept. And so, if you do the math on that, it's $8,300 an hour over a 40-hour work week. And of course I did. And anybody that held still long enough heard about it. And I thought I was a freaking real estate god. My head got so big, I could barely fit it through a door. And, when that happens, God or the universe will give you a nice little smackdown. Well, that was 2008. I lost everything in 2000. I lost $50 million in 2008.
What?
And yeah.
Say that again?
Yeah. 50 big ones. So,
in 2008, $50 million?
That's conservative, actually. Yeah, but that's what I lost.
Rod.
And so, one of the things I enjoy talking about is the mindset it took to have 50 million to lose in the first place, and then the mindset it took to get back to the success that I'm blessed to have today. So I'm happy to drill down on that with you, because I really think it'll add value to your listeners if you'd like.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well,
if you're willing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, one of the first things that we do at my boot camp. So I do these boot camps several times a year. I used to be live. I was supposed to have 800 people in Orlando last year for live. And we all know what happened with that. And I was freaking out. So, if you go to multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com, you'll see my happy ass on my phone recording the video. It's still there. We need to change it out one of these days, but we went live stream, and, I've had thousands of people now come to my live stream events, but the first thing we do is a goal setting workshop, and I call it goal setting on steroids, because how the hell are you going to get anything if you don't know what it is? Right?
I love that. Yep.
So by the way, if you're interested in this, if you don't want to come to my boot camp, that's fine. But I did this on my Rod Khleif official Facebook page on January 2nd, year before I did it on the 1st, but this year I did it on the 2nd, and I do it with music and a guide you can download for free and all that. So I guide you through this if you want me to do that with you, but I'll describe the process to you right now. It'll take a few minutes, and
sure,
let me describe it if you don't want to, but if you DM me on any social channel, I'm on all of them, and I have a team that helps me. You'll get the link to that if you want it.
Perfect.
But anyway, so what you want to do is pick an hour when you have a lot of energy. Don't do it right after a meal. Make sure you're well hydrated, and sit down and write down everything you could ever possibly want in life. Now, take the lid off your freaking brain. Imagine if you write it down, you can get it, which is not outside the realm of reality, because there's nothing you can't do, be, or have. You just have to make a decision. So write down, if you want big stuff, you want the yachts, the jets, the boats, the planes, whatever it is, write that down. Now, but start with all the stuff, the houses, the cars, the boats, the jet skis, the planes. Write down how much money you want in the bank, say in 3 years, how much you want in 10 years. Write down how much cash flow you want from your real estate in, say, 3 years and 10 years. But so write down all the stuff. Then write down everything you want to do in this lifetime. So, at places you want to go, like I've got a travel vision board behind my green screen here of the places I want to go again, or places I've already been. Write that down. Write down, maybe you want to climb every mountain over 14,000 feet. I've got a friend doing that, or go to the Antarctic or whatever. I jump out of a perfectly good airplane. I did that about a year ago. Never
done that. It's fun.
Again. Yeah, no, I'm never doing it again, man. Not for me. But anyway, I did it, though. It's off the list. Okay.
That's right.
Anyway, so, so whatever it is, write it down. Then also write down what you want to learn in this lifetime. Okay. So it's not just the stuff, it's everything you want to do, be, or have. And so write down what you want to learn. If you want to learn a skill set, if you want to learn wholesaling, you're in the right freaking place. If you want to learn multifamily, for God's sakes, come spend a couple days with me. I do those boot camps. I don't sell anything there, 18 hours of training and nothing being sold. So by the way, let me give you listeners a code. If you want to come, you can come for under $100, $97. Again, nothing being sold. If you just text Rod Live as one word to 72345,
RODLIVE, Rod Live.
One word, Rod Live.
So text Rod Live to 72345.
And then use the code. Your listeners can use the code Rod Friend as one word, and you'll get $50 off. And the tickets don't go over $150. I mean, again, I'm not making money on this.
Sure.
I believe in adding value. And then, I don't sell anything there, but if you want to dig deeper with me, you can set up a call with my team.
Rob, let me repeat that real quick. I have to interrupt because I don't want the listeners to have to, go back to try to find this. So guys, if you want more information about this, you're going to text Rod Live. That's one word, RODLIVE, to a simple short code. And that short code is 72345. Once you do that, you're going to get a link that's texted to you. And that's what Rod's saying. If you're interested in attending, which I highly recommend because I'll be at the next one, so you can say hi to me there as well. You're going to use code Rod Friend, which is also one word, RODFRIEND. Just want to clarify that. And that's going to bring the ticket cost down below $100.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for that, by the way. That's
my pleasure. In fact, depending on when this goes live, it might even be $50 because I go from 97 to 147. So whenever, but even $100 less than
even better.
Of a good
meal. Yeah, either way, that's an awesome discount. Thank you.
And I don't sell anything there at all. I've never had a complaint, knock on wood. Thousands of people. Well, that's a lie. They complain that the brakes are too short. I pack 3 days into 2 days.
You're just packing value in there, buddy.
Trust me, there are those freaking 15-minute breaks every couple hours are harder on me than you because I got to pee and eat and everything else.
You got to
but anyway,
right.
But anyway, but anyway, yeah, come check it out if you're interested in multifamily. I promise you'll be glad you came. But so I do this goal setting workshop there, and that I'm describing here. So you write down everything you ever could possibly want and take the lid off your brain, because what this does when you just by writing your goals down, it triggers something in your brain called your reticular activating system. And that's that filter. It's subconscious. You're not aware of it, but it points you in the direction it thinks you're interested in, your brain subconsciously. And the greatest example of it is when you first buy a car. You never really notice them, then you see them everywhere. Were they there before? Of course they were. And that's your reticular activating system at work. And it's the same way with your goals. Now, I also want you to write down everything you want to do. Like I said, I also want you to write down what you want to learn. But lastly, I want you to write down who you want to help. You know, as human beings, we'll do more for others than we'll ever do for ourselves. And so you want to utilize this to drive you. So write down who you're going to do things for. I bought my parents a house down here in Florida when my dad was alive, car, took them on cruises. Who do you want to do something for? Write that down. All right. When you can't think of another thing, I want you to put a time limit on each goal. And by the way, if you're analytical, don't stop and analyze your answers to these goals. For God's sakes, just keep writing. You can always scratch them out later. Just keep that pen on the paper, keep going till you can't think of another freaking thing. But then once you can't think of anything else, put a time limit on each goal. How many years it's going to take you to achieve it? Put a 1, a 3, a 5, even a 10 or a 20. Remembering that as human beings, we have a tendency to overestimate what we can do in a year, and we massively underestimate what we can do in 5, 10, 20 years. And I'll give you an example of this.
That's wild how it works like that, but you are absolutely right.
Yeah. When I was 18, I was in Denver, obviously, but I knew I wanted to live on the beach, and there's no beach in Denver. And so
not in Denver.
I would visualize the surf and the sand and the waves and the palm trees and all that stuff. And 20 years later, I built this $8 million, 10,000 square foot mansion on the beach, which frankly was unthinkable when I was 18. So that's the point. Take the lid off your brain and whatever it is you want, write it down. Okay.
You did that at 28?
No, 20 years later.
20 years later. I was going to say, wow. But even 20 years later, man. That's
no, it was an incredible house. I'll tell you a little more about it in a minute, but
sure.
It was incredible. You know, Gulf to Bay, beach on one side. I had my boats on the backside. Yeah, it was incredible. So anyway, but that was unthinkable when I was 18. So again, don't limit yourself, guys. Even if you haven't got a you-know-what in right now, just put it down, because there's nothing you can't do, be, or have. So once you've got a time limit on each goal, pick your number one goal. I mean, that goal, when you get it, you're like, oh my God, you know you've arrived when you achieve that goal, and put that on a separate sheet of paper. Now, if you DM me, I'll get you the code to my goal setting. So I will guide you through this, but regardless, you can use this, just a blank sheet of paper. So write your number one goal, and then also pick your top 3 one-year goals and put those on that same sheet of paper, and leave room in between them, because you're going to write some things in between them. And I will tell you, at this point, with your 4 goals, your number one goal and your top 3 goals, you are ahead of 99.9% of the people on the planet, most of which do a New Year's resolution that's forgotten by February. So pat yourself on the back.
I would say most is forgotten by January 10th.
Right.
Man.
But there's a couple more steps. So the goals will drive you. They're important. You need them. They'll push you, they'll pull you, they'll drive you. But what's really going to juice you is why you have to achieve them. So I need you to write a paragraph under each goal, why it has to happen. And it's important to use emotionally charged words like amazing and incredible and beautiful, because words are so powerful. You want to utilize them. So you might say, so I can show my kids what incredible success looks like. So I can show my wife what it means to live a life of amazing abundance. You know, whatever's going to juice you, but that's how you want to phrase it. Okay. And, you know, so we can have the freedom to do whatever we want, whenever we want, go wherever we want, bring whoever we want, you know, whatever's going to juice you, write that down. Now, once you've got a positive reason why underneath each goal, I need you to put some pain in there as well. And I want you to make it painful if you don't achieve the goal. So you might say, so I don't feel like a failure, you know, so I don't fail my kids. So I don't, you know, fail my husband or wife, you know.
Train your brain to think big on the front side, but then also think about the repercussions of if you don't hit that goal.
And make it freaking
hurt.
That. Make it hurt. So I don't live a life of regret. Because as human beings, we will do more to avoid pain than gain pleasure. And you want to use this. This is the fuel. This is what's going to get your butt up early, stay up late, work Saturdays, to grind like most people won't for a few years so you can live the rest of your life like most people can't. This is what makes that happen. So put some pain in there, make it painful so I don't live a life of regret. There was this nurse in Australia, David, named Bronnie Ware. She was a hospice nurse. And so she was taking care of patients when they were about to die. And she asked him a question. And the question was, do you have any regrets? And she wrote a book about it. It's called The 5 Regrets of Dying. And you know what the number one regret was? Not living the life I could have lived, living someone else's life, not doing what I know.
Not taking a couple risks, right?
Please.
Like,
God, can you imagine? I can't imagine. So if you're out there fearing failure, I'm here to tell you, fear regret a lot more than failure. Okay. We fail our way to success. I call them seminars.
I failed twice today. Man, I'm all about it, right? It happens.
That was a $50 million seminar, because it's only a failure if you don't get back up or you don't learn the lesson. I've had lots of seminars, in fact, I've built 24 businesses in my career so far. Several have been worth tens of millions of dollars. Most have been spectacular flaming seminars. Okay. We fail our way to success. In fact, I met the billionaire owner of Spanx at another mastermind that I belong to, Digital Marketers War Room, if you're familiar with that, I'm sure. Yep. But anyway, Sarah Blakely. So she follow
Sarah and Jesse. I love them both, man.
Yeah, they're awesome. Sarah's so cool. She's such a beautiful human being. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen her talk about this, but when I was talking to her, she told me that her dad used to ask her and her brother once a week, what have you failed at this week? Is that, for those of you with kids, talk about an awesome freaking question to ask your kids. And my kids are 30 and 26 now, so it's a little late, but I wish I'd have heard that before because that's awesome. So anyway, let's see. You've got your positive and negative reasons why. Okay, the last thing is you've got to make declarations or get pictures of your goals. Let me give you some examples.
So a vision board, basically.
Well, vision board is one. I've got several behind me, but let me give you some other examples. So, but yes. Bottom line, yes. Vision board is one way. Screensaver on your wall, pictures on the wall, whatever. But I'll give you some examples of how this works. So Jim Carrey, the actor, when he was flat broke, wrote himself a check for $10 million. Google Jim Carrey check. It's right there. In fact, he buried the check. He used to go up by the Hollywood sign. He'd look at it. When he was flat broke, and that's how much money he made for Dumb and Dumber. And he buried that check with his dad when his dad died because his dad believed in his dream. But I'll give you a more recent example. Demi Lovato. Cool. Yeah, Demi Lovato, the singer, when she was unknown like 11 years ago, posted on social media, I'm going to sing the national anthem in the Super Bowl. Not this last one, the one before. Go see who sang the national anthem.
Yeah, that's cool. Wow.
Yeah. Now I'll give you some personal examples. When I was 18, I got my real estate broker's license, right? So I figured I had to have a 4-door car to show people houses, right? So I got this bone ugly Ford Granada, piece of crap, bench seat in the front. Just a real piece of, but I worked with the guy taught me about mindset. He had 2 Corvettes and he let me drive one. And I'm like, oh my God, this is freaking amazing. So I got a picture of this is before the internet. This is again, 1978. I got a picture of a Corvette out of a magazine. I put on the visor of this bone ugly Granada. Within a year or two, I had a Corvette. Now I'm going to give you some other examples, just like the house example, but let me pre-frame telling you, I'm not bragging here.
No, not at all.
Yeah, doesn't even interest me. I just want to inspire you to what's possible, right?
Yes.
So this is back when the TV show Magnum PI was out, okay? And the actor was Tom Selleck, and he was a detective in Hawaii, and he drove this Ferrari 308. And it's the first time I saw an exotic car. I'm like, oh my God, look at that. So I got a picture of that actual car, put it on the visor of my Corvette. Within a year or two, I had a Maserati look just like it. Last example. Awesome. I'm the guy that always wanted a Lamborghini. Once I saw him for the first time, I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And so I got posters in my room and pictures. And what's crazy is my son collected models of exotic cars, and he had like 30 of them when he was 9 years old, which is when I bought it. And he had a model of the exact same color and style that I ended up with, which ultimately wrecked and totaled. But anyway, the point is get freaking, in fact, let me show you something. Do you put these on YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So this is my planner. So if those of you, I use a paper planner. I'm a dinosaur. It's on today. But in the back of this thing, I've got pictures that have been in here for 21 years.
No way.
Yeah. So they're in plastic. This used to be called Daytimer. Now it's Franklin Covey Planner. Luckily the hole's lined up, but yeah, I've had these pictures for 21 years. First pictures are my gratitude pictures. They're pictures of my kids when they were young. Why? Because everything starts from a freaking place of gratitude. That's how you manifest.
Does. Man, I love that.
Yeah. And so I got my pictures of my kids, like they're 30 and 26 now. So you can see these are old.
Yeah.
But then I've got pictures of things that I wanted. I talked about that house on the beach. This looks just like that house on the beach before I freaking built it. I had 80 feet of 10-foot high glass like that, butt together. I had travertine floors like that. Now I lost that house and all the craziness. And now I live in a compound. I've got 6 buildings. I've got a, big guest house. I'm sorry, guest house on the water, big main house. I've got a media building with a video studio we just created, a big exercise room and big exercise room and garages. Just spectacular. It's on the bay. Because God's out a sense of humor, I can see my old house across the bay. It's right across the bay here. True story.
Great.
Anyway,
but
what's
you had
funny,
that original house in the book.
Right. Now, what's crazy is look at those walls in that bottom picture. See the stone walls? Those are actually different places.
Sure.
This is a picture of my backyard. See the wall? Is that freaking nuts? And this is, again, I've had these pictures for 20 years.
Wow.
So, and then stupid shit like watches. I've got $100,000 or actually about $400,000 worth of watches now.
Wow.
Lamborghini before I ever got it. There's a picture of it. The Rolls Royce, the Bentley. Again, it's the stuff that doesn't really interest me that much anymore, but it certainly did at one time. And I had pictures and that's how I got it. So guys, get freaking pictures, put them around you, get vision boards, whatever it is, because that's how you manifest this stuff.
Love it. And it's so true, guys. That's so true. You got to start with the goals, right? And then you got to put together a plan, guys. A goal without a plan is a dream. Think about that for a second. A goal without a plan is a dream. So put together these goals. But what I like that you're doing is you're putting together kind of a plan, in a way when you're doing your goals by saying, here's all the awesome stuff that this is going to bring me by achieving this goal. And if I don't achieve this goal, this is the negative stuff that I may feel. And I like that you take it to the next level, Rod.
Well, listen, really you've got to have the whys. You've got to have that pain. You've got to have that pleasure, because that's how you push through fear. That's how you push through limiting beliefs. Like when I went to school in Denver, I was 6 years old. I didn't speak English and I got my ass kicked. I found out what bullies were for the first time. And then my mom, proud Dutch woman that she is, she'd send me to school in wooden shoes for show and tell and those leather shorts the Germans wear for Oktoberfest, lederhosen. And I get my butt kicked again. And then they chase me home and she chased them off with a fly swatter. So the next day you can imagine I got my butt kicked again. And so I came up with this limiting belief that I wasn't good enough. And so, and lots of people have these, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm not smart enough, I'm not analytical enough, but you've got to have this fuel, this burning desire, which Napoleon Hill calls in his book, Think and Grow Rich. You've got to have that burning desire to push through that crap. Yeah. Okay. And, or maybe you're comfortable. The comfort zone's a warm place, but nothing freaking grows there. Right. And that's nothing. How you get through it. Right. Okay? But let me say one more thing though, about goals before we move on. I built that house on the beach. Okay. Yeah. This is the one I lost. But anyway, I worked for that thing for 20 freaking years. Okay. And 2 months after I moved in, 2 months, 20 years, 2 months, 2 months after I moved in, I'm floating in the pool. My family's inside sleeping. Let me describe this place. Okay. So again, I had the beach on one side, boat houses on the back side, Gulf to Bay, it was called.
10,000 square feet.
10,000 square feet, $8 million is what it was worth. And a wine cellar, elevator, all that stuff. I had a giant spiral staircase up through the middle. I'll just land the plane with this. On the second floor, I had an aquarium that went around the staircase that cost me almost $200,000. So that gives you an idea of the house.
That place was awesome.
Oh no, it was incredible.
So you're at the house, you're in the backyard, laying in the pool.
I'm in the pool. Pool's changing colors. It's got
only 2 months lighting after it's built and
2 months after I moved in. So the pool's changing colors. I had tens of thousands of dollars worth of trees that were bent out over the pool. The pool was in magazines. But anyway, I'm looking up at this testament to my ego, which is really what it was. It was to prove the world I was good enough. It's embarrassing to admit that, but that's the truth. Because I used to ask myself, how can I show them I'm good enough from being picked on in school? Same shit everybody goes through, but that's what my mind did around that. And so, I'm looking up at this testament to my ego and I got depressed. And I don't mean just a little bummed. I mean, I got really bummed. I'm like,
so what was it? What happened?
Yeah. So, what I realized, and it didn't make any sense. I had achieved success by like off the hook level. And what happened was there were several things going on. That's why I want to mention this relates to goals. Number one is you should never achieve a big goal without having other goals lined up behind it. Super important, because like the good book says, without a vision, the people perish. I didn't have a vision for the future. So that's number one. Number two is it's never about the goals. You need the goals. You got to have them. Okay. That's how I pulled out of losing 50 million bucks, by focusing on what I wanted and why I wanted it again. You need them. But it's never about the goals. Like they say, the happiest days of a boat owner's life are the day he buys it and the day he sells it. Because, it's just getting the goals important, but it's never about that. It's who you become on your path to the goals. But the happiness comes from progress and growth. Okay, that's the only thing that makes you happy. And I wasn't growing. It's like, what am I going to do now? So that was the second thing. But the third big thing was I'd been totally focused on myself. Rod, show the world I matter. Show the world I'm good enough. And I went and bought some books from thought leaders like Dale Carnegie and Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins, and I started reading Tony's book. I'm like, man, I like this stuff. So I went and saw him live, and saw that he fed families for the holidays. He's done millions. And so I go back and I decide, you know what, I'm going to feed 5 families. So I flew back to Denver for Thanksgiving with my brother, which where I'm from, and said, let's go feed 5 families. We went to his church, said, who really needs help? Got a list of 5 people. Third family changed my life. This was one woman in this shack with 5 kids by herself. And, we bought toys for the kids. We got a frozen turkey. We got, boxes of food. She comes out, she sees this stuff on the porch. She starts crying. Her kids come out. The older one starts crying. I start crying, and I'm freaking hooked.
I'm about to start crying, dude. That's amazing.
Well, I got to tell you, there's a message here. And
yeah,
since then, this is 20 years ago, we've fed 100,000 kids here in this part of Florida. We've done tens of thousands of backpacks filled with school supplies. We've done tens of thousands of teddy bears to local police departments for officers to keep in their vehicles.
What a cool story, man.
Well, I'm not bragging, but
no, not at all.
Yeah, no, let me give the message, because the message is important. So guys, we've been taught to achieve to be happy. And I'm going to tell you, if you give back, you're happily achieving. Now, I know if you're listening to David, you've got blood dripping from your teeth and you want this so freaking bad. You might be saying to yourself, I'll do it when I have the money. Big mistake. Okay. Big mistake. You do it now. Find something you're passionate about. Kids, the environment, the elderly, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But go do something now, because even if you just give of your time, not only will you be happy, you'll be fulfilled. Tony Robbins calls it the science of achievement versus the art of fulfillment. Not only will you be fulfilled, by the way, if you can go see Tony live, just do it. Trust me on that. But
it's worth it. Absolutely.
But not only will you be fulfilled, but you're going to get success faster. Okay. Now you don't do it for that reason, but if you give back now, you will get, because that's the way God of the universe works. You get it back 10-fold, 100-fold. This is why I'm successful. That's why I do these live stream boot camps, and I don't sell anything. And I still, have tons of success, because it comes back to me. And so give back, and I will tell you, my podcast is the largest commercial real estate podcast in the world. We've over 11 million downloads, and I've interviewed some of the biggest players in the world in the multifamily space. I mean, billionaires. And I can see if they're like I was back then, narcissistic. Some of them are really good at hiding it, but I can see it because it was me. I can sense it, and I feel sad for them. And so, guys, those of you listening that want this, trust me, incorporate this into your life right now. And if you, by the way, every dime in my foundation goes to the kids. I hardly ever promote it, but let me just mention this. If you want to give,
please do. Please.
Yeah. If you want to give to my foundation, text Tiny Hands to 72345, $22 feeds a family. I cover all the operational expenses and then some. And so every dime goes to food, goes to the backpacks, goes to teddy bears. But regardless, whether you do it with me or not, give back in some fashion, because the success will come faster. That's it.
I love that. Absolutely agree with everything you just said.
Thank you.
Speaking of your podcast, Lifetime Cashflow, 11 million downloads. Wow. Guys, check that podcast out as well.
It's because I give back, dude. I used to take free phone calls from my listeners, and if when you give back genuinely, authentically, just with no agenda, it just, the success is inevitable. And I'm really blessed. And, it's funny, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. I never planned to sell coaching or courses or do any of that stuff, but, I just wanted to add value and tell my story about losing everything. And if you're going to invest in real estate, for God's sakes, that you're going to hold. I like multifamily. I'm not going to push people away from single, but I like multi. I think for me, it's safer. But the point is, so that's why I started the podcast. And when I hit 1 million downloads, I'm like, knucklehead, you probably ought to do something with this. So then I wrote a book, gave it away, and then I did a course, and now I do coaching. And like I said, you want to make God laugh, tell me your plans. Well, what's really cool is my coaching. I want to brag about this because my coaching students, my warriors, I call them. I've been teaching a little over 3.5 years. They own over 45,000 doors now, units.
Wow.
I'm so freaking proud of that.
Holy cow. That's awesome.
Right. So, and that's, I love what I do, which is why I do this, why my wife puts up with me working as hard as I do.
Rod, that is the craziest statistic, man. You said over the last 3.5 years,
45,000 doors.
45. I mean, I would think like 4,500, but 45,000.
Yeah, it might be closer to 4 years. It might have that stretch a little bit, but under 4 years. Under 4 years. Yeah.
Wow. That is cool. Phenomenal.
I'm really proud of it, man.
Holy cow.
And I will tell you, you can see some of the hundreds of thank you cards behind me from students here. And again, I've only been teaching, the whole wall's covered with them. And I do this, I'm kind of addicted to it, like I'm sure you are, because I literally get love 10 to 15 times a day. Again, I'm not bragging here, but I get an email. I just got these posters, framed posters of a King of Hearts and a Queen of Hearts. So I'm always talking about my beautiful wife. I have no idea who sent them to me. I mean, I literally get gifts and cards and emails every single day. So I'm freaking addicted. I'm addicted to the love that I get. You know what I'm saying? So anyway.
But well deserved, man. You're doing some awesome stuff. So guys, start with the goals. I think Rod nailed that. I mean, all the things that he wanted, he achieved. You can too, but you got to put these things down. You got to write down the goals. You can't just say, oh, here's my goal. Write it down. Look at it. Get the vision board. Put it in your calendar. I used to have I don't have it anymore, but I used to have a screensaver on my phone that had my number one goal. I want $100,000 a month in passive income. And I
used to have that above my bed.
I'm almost at a quarter of it at this point. Yeah, I'll never achieve that goal if I don't see that every single day. Right.
I met mine and eclipsed mine. Now it has an extra 0. My wife hates it. Literally right above.
I love it. But that goes with what you were saying, though.
I've got it right here on the wall too. If you can see it on the wall right there.
Yeah, right there.
$1 million a month.
Boom. I love it. But again, you got to have that next goal, though, right? You can't just get that one and then, you got to keep pushing it. Man, I love it. All right, Rod, that was amazing.
Thanks, brother.
Awesome. Tell us about Lifetime Cashflow. Let's talk multifamily.
So, I love this business because when I was losing everything in 2008, it was the single family that pulled me down because I was too spread out. I had houses 2 hours north, 2 hours south, and everywhere in between here along the coast. And so the multifamily did just fine through the crash. But the single family, what killed me is like if I had a maintenance issue at one of my apartments, every part is the same. We could stockpile parts. Maintenance guys in and out in an hour. Well, if I had to send them to one of my houses, it could be an hour and a half each way, and they have to go find all day. They'd have to go find a Lowe's, a Home Depot, buy parts, and then get back. And it would take all day. And these were C-class properties, so lots of maintenance. And so that killed me. And then I wasn't paying attention to demographics either. My tenant population, a lot of these residents were contractors, plumbers, electricians, drywallers, painters, roofers, which fell off a freaking cliff in 2008. So they didn't have work. And so I crashed and burned. But anyway, so I love multifamily. It's what I teach. I love it. I think it's the most recession resistant asset class you can buy in real estate. After the 2008 crash, within 3 years, the rents had already exceeded pre-crash levels. So it's just I love it. I teach it, eat, live, and breathe it. And so, if you're interested, again, text that Rod Live and come to my boot camp. I'll be having a live one in December, but my next live stream one will be August 28th and 29th, or you can go to multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com. But I'll have a live in-person event. Now that'll be a whole lot more money. It'll be 5 times, it'll be like $500
of course.
or $1,000 to come. But if you go VIP, but for $100 for 18 hours of me training you is kind of a no-brainer. So if you're interested.
So the August 28th and 29th is the virtual one, right?
Virtual. That's correct.
Okay, guys. So multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com is where you can go.
And use that code Rod Friend again.
I was going to say, I'm assuming if you text Rod Live to 72345, it's going to send you that link.
That's the link you'll get. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I don't have the live one. I don't have the live one buttoned up yet. We're signing the contract next week, but I believe it's the first week in December and it'll be in Orlando. Okay. So, if you want to come live, that's pretty cool too. And it's going to be a big one. I'm pushing for 1,000 people there. So I think we'll easily hit it. There's a lot of pent up demand.
So first week of December. So TBD on the date. But live, that's an actual live event.
Yeah, live event.
And that'll be over in Orlando in December. Awesome. I absolutely love it. All right, Rod, we got to wrap it up, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Before we end, though, if you are a new investor, a lot of our audience, right? They're new investors. They're just getting started. We preach buy at a discount, hence the name of the podcast, Discount Property Investor. Always buy at a discount, right? If you are a new investor, right, and you're wanting to get into the game, other than the goals, you can't use that because you already used that, right? We talked a lot about that, and that's super important. But other than putting the goals into place, what should somebody do to get started in the real estate investing business? What are the first couple things that you would, tell somebody if they came to you and they were brand new, they hadn't done 700 wholesales like me. They didn't have 60, 70 properties like me. They're brand new. What would you tell them?
Well, I mean, listen, dabblers get crushed. So don't dabble. I mean, you've got incredible resources. If it's going to be wholesaling to get going, then for God's sakes, David's got incredible resources for that. If you want to go to multifamily, we just gave you my website, Real Estate with Rod, has tons of free resources, books and videos and articles. Again, realestatewithrod.com.
I don't think you mentioned that yet. So
I forgot.
That's all good. That's why I'm asking. Realestatewithrod.com, guys.
It's actually, my website is rodkhleif.com, but nobody can freaking spell my name. So we have that pointed to rodkhleif.com. So Real Estate with Rod, but there's tons of free resources. But the bottom line is you got to educate yourself.
Yes.
So pick your vehicle and educate yourself. Don't dabble. Don't send me a DM and say, how do I do this? Come on. I teach this for 18. I teach this for 18 hours full on. So if you're serious, come see me at one of my events, or David can help you on the wholesaling side, whatever, or flipping, whatever you want to do. But get started, for God's sake.
Yeah. Okay? Don't dabble. That's the takeaway.
Don't be in the same place you are a year from now, unless you freaking love where you are right now.
Yeah. Which most people don't. Let's be honest. Right. But that is phenomenal advice, guys. I'm going to recap that. Don't dabble, get educated. And another way to look at this is fully immerse yourself. Get a coach or just start reading and taking courses and doing everything you can to fully immerse yourself. Do not dabble. And then, of course, set those goals. Guys, this has been a phenomenal episode. Rod, thank you so much for your time. I am super grateful. You are doing such amazing things. Guys, his students have got 45,000 doors added to their portfolios in just the last 3.5 to 4 years. And on top of that, Rod has an amazing charity that you can also be a part of, guys. So let's recap on some of the ways to connect with Rod. It's Rod Khleif, by the way. The last name, Khleif. Did I do that right?
Yep, that's it.
All right, Rod Khleif. You can connect with them on socials, or if you're interested in the bootcamp, right, you can go direct multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com. Again, that's August 28th and 29th, or just text Rod Live to 72345. If you're interested in the charity, text Tiny Hands.
Yeah, it's the Tiny Hands Foundation.
Tiny Hands Foundation.
Yeah, that's the name. It's tinyhandsfoundation.org, but it's Tiny Hands to text Tiny Hands. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. You're good. You text Tiny Hands to 72345. I love it, guys. And then again, the advice that Rod gave us in the beginning and in the end here, both of these are so incredibly important. Make goals, guys. Put them down, write them down, look at them daily. No matter if that's writing on the mirror in the morning when you're brushing your teeth, or in your phone or in your notebook, whatever. Post them, write them, look at them daily. And then last but not least, take action, get started. Don't dabble. Rod, that was awesome, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
I really enjoyed it, buddy. I love your energy too, man.
Thank you, sir. Yes, all right, guys, don't forget, you always make your money when you buy. You get paid when you sell. There's a difference there. So buy at a discount. That's the goal. That's how we make money. That's really, think of it this way, how we eliminate our risk when it comes to investing in real estate. Get a discount from the beginning. Then you could go make a bunch of mistakes. Not that I encourage you to do, but if that happens and you bought at a discount, you have eliminated your risk. Rod, thanks for coming on, guys. Until next time. signing off.